What I'm going to do now is the most delicious killer pork chops with creamy Spanish beans. So, you got these lovely pork chops here, right? You can see you've got that lovely eye meat, you've got the brown piece here. I personally like that because you get two different flavours, the sort of sticky and sweet, and then the nice sort of leaner meat there. Then you've got the rib meat here. Really, really good. Now, a little tweak on getting some extra flavour going on, right? It's dead simple, it's not chefy. Go into your pork chop, get your knife halfway in, like that. And once it's in, sort of move it around slowly, right? And basically, you're making a little pocket there for flavour. And then get your little finger, just poke it in there, like that, right? And you know it's all good. Okay, once you've done that, what I want to do is make just like a zingy little filling. So I've got a little bit of oregano in pestle and mortar, just literally a couple of sprigs worth, a pinch of salt for seasoning. I've got some of these nice local raisins. Run your knife through them, just to break them up a little bit. And this has got beautiful sweetness. Give it a good old bash. And once you've bashed that up a little bit, I'm going to put a little bit of my sherry, a couple of tablespoons, just to moisten it up a bit, and a tiny bit of olive oil. Right? So I'm going to let that just sort of sit for a moment. The raisins will just suck up that moisture and it'll be just like a kind of paste, right? So bear with me on that. Now, in a pan here, I'm going to fire it up, sort of medium-large heat. See, I've got the bits of fat here from the Pata Negra store. I'll put it in a pan and you see it just literally, like a candle, starts to melt. Look at that. Nice. In the store, they had the little offcuts, right, that you can buy, and you can use Parma ham bits for this if you can't get Pata Negra back home. These are the offcuts. I'm going to put these in as well. Mega flavour, and that's the beginning of this bean dish, right? It's dead simple, it takes 10 minutes to do, right? Then I'll cut my onion up, and you see that pan's getting nice and hot now. Bit of olive oil just to help the story. There we go, the onions are softening. I'm going to slice up a nice red pepper, and then in with these little babies. Okay. You know, depending on what herbs you got, you know, if you want to put a couple of bay leaves in, put a few bay leaves. If you wanted to get a little bit of rosemary, just run your knife roughly through that. It's all good stuff. The nice thing is you can use different ingredients like tomatoes and bits and pieces if you want to. You've got these lovely jarred beans, which are literally an off-the-shelf product. You can get them in tins, in jars, and, you know, just scatter them in. They're great quality. These beans here are called habichuela, but you can use any beans you like, honestly. It works whichever one you do. Look at the colours. So exciting. So I'm going to turn the heat down now. I'm going to add a little cup of water. And this will be lovely and creamy. Just literally just cover the beans, and that's going to be great. Right, so let's get this raisin paste. Let's have a look at it. Right, you can see it's quite pasty. You've got the herb in there, the raisins. Have a taste. Sweetness, sherry, herb is going to be great. Really, really nice. So just take that little paste here and put it into that pocket that we've made. And just push it in. You don't need much at all to make the whole world of difference. And I don't really want to get it on the outside. I want to keep the outside really plain and simple and normal. And then inside, when you cut into it, juice comes out. Brilliant. So a little bit of pepper on a plate and the pork. A little bit of salt. You want to season it good. A little olive oil on the plate and the pork. And then we're just going to pat it. And then the underside, which hasn't got the salt, just move that around on the plate then. And then you should have a perfect seasoning. And then over to your barbecue. To create a bit of smoke and big up the charcoal cooking, I'm just going to whip off the bars. I've got a few extra bay leaves and herbs and, you know, bits like that. They'll smoke, right? But they'll smoke in a nice way. And that's what barbecuing's about. Okay, so the pork chops are on. Let's check the beans. Look at that. See how nice and creamy that's getting. Have a look at that, baby. Obviously, you can do it under the grill, in an oven, in a hot pan with a little oil. But, you know, barbecue's where it's at, really. Let's turn it over again. You know, it's all about building up colour and flavour. Look at that, just dancing on the top. That's the best bit, when that fat starts doing that. These beans are ready now, but just before they're ready, for the last kind of minute of the beans cooking, I'm just going to put this chard in. You don't want to cook the hell out of the flavour, you know, whether it was spinach or chard or things like stinger nettles and stuff like that. I mean, it's good to have that little bit of life going at the last minute to make it just delicious. Look at that. That is just exactly what I'm looking for. Let's plate this baby up. Look at that. When you can toss it like that, you know it's creamy and delicious. Just going to pour that in. Nice little portion goes in like that. And then give it a little shake. Look at that. Whether you're cooking it on a barbecue or in a pan, while it's hot and sizzling, plonk that in the middle. The pork will start to rest in the beans. Right, and then I like to pick some little baby leaves of herbs and just put them in and around the top. Some good Spanish olive oil, and that is the most incredible beans with absolutely kick-ass pork. So good. And like, if you want to see what's happening with this pork, I'll cut into this, and that's what you get. Cut that open, see, you got that flavour in there. So as soon as you put your knife and fork through there, you get lovely normal pork chop, you know, unadulterated. Then in the middle, bang, raisins, fruit, flavour, herb. Let's have a little try. Oh my God. Ridiculous. So good. Totally tender and juicy. No need to have tough old pork. There's nothing better than cooking something delicious for friends or family, and you don't have to wait to the end of the weekend to do a beautiful roast. Introducing pot roast pork, wrapped in cured meat with sage and garlic, and a side dish of celeriac, spinach, and some compotted apple and rhubarb. Oh yes, let's do this. So this is a beautiful piece of pork loin. It's about 1 kilo. We've removed belly and fat to make it convenient. So it's going to cook really evenly, but we have lost flavour. So we've got to add it back in. So we'll do that by creating an amazing marinade and wrapping it in the cured meat. First up, I'm going to use a fantastic herb, sage. The smell is amazing. And then I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. Take your pestle and smash it up. Then go in with 2 cloves of garlic. Once the garlic has been smashed, then finish off the marinade process with 2 tablespoons of oil and about 1 tablespoon or 2 of red wine vinegar. That, my friends, is unbelievable flavour potential. Pour it over the pork, and then we can have a nice little rub up. Let's have a look at the cured meat for wrapping. So take a piece of greaseproof paper. We'll rub that with a little olive oil. And then here I'm using a cured meat called Coppa di Parma. But of course you can use Parma ham, use whatever you can get your hands on. And I'm just going to lay out this incredible cured meat, turn this, take that amazing cut of pork. We're using simply rolling and gravity to wrap that, okay? Now at this stage, we want to secure it. So I'm going to take some string, do a double knot, and pull it fairly tight, right? We want to secure that to the pork. And there you go. Something truly beautiful and ready for cooking. So pan goes on, just a little bit of olive oil, a little knob of butter, and as it starts to bubble and fry, we'll go in with this incredible piece of pork. Listen to that, come on, that's what it's all about. Now, we will just move this pork around and we'll achieve a little bit of light golden colour. While the pork browns, slice up a stick of celery, cut the red onion into wedges and add to the pan with a couple of sprigs of rosemary. It's just lovely savoury flavours. This is going to be beautiful. So, you know, as it starts to fry and get golden and crisp, then we add a little Chianti, just a little. We don't want to boil, and that's going to create the most amazing sort of humid, delicious environment where the fat and the Chianti is just kind of creating this shiny cream that just bastes the meat. That's pot roasting. So it's going in the oven for about 40 minutes. Every 10 minutes, I'll turn it and baste it. And this will give you golden, delicious, moist pork. What I'll do now is bang this in an oven at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit. It's gonna be truly amazing. So as that beautiful pork cooks, what could go with it? I'm thinking celeriac. You can steam it, grill it, you can mash it, you can pretty much treat it like a parsnip or a potato, but also most of the flavour is in the skin. So I've had a proper little scrub up. Generously sort of cut off those lobes of skin. There you go. So all I do here is a little seasoning and a little oil, celeriac cracklings in the bottom of the oven. Into a new pan, add a tablespoon of olive oil, a few sprigs of thyme, and go in with the chopped celeriac. And about half an hour of cooking and that will be beautiful. As that's happening, I want to do a compote. Apples, very, very traditional, quite British, but then I'm kind of rifting off into the wonderful world of rhubarb. Sour. It's got that kind of weird sort of tropical slap. Chunk up the rhubarb and add to the roasting tray. Then peel and chop a red and green apple. Add a pinch of salt and pepper, a tablespoon of brown sugar, a splash of red wine vinegar, and throw in a knob of butter. So give it a nice little mix up. This goes in the oven. Let's have a look at our pork and give it just another drizzle of the Chianti. Look at that. Just move it over and just add that juice and it's going to be amazing. Put the pork back in the oven and let it cook away, remembering to turn and baste it every 10 minutes. Come on! Look at that gorgeous, simple sauce. Now, I'm going to let the meat rest in its juices, right? About 10 minutes. That will give you a tastier, more tender cut of meat. And then here, we have got the celeriac. I want to bring some greens into the story. So baby spinach, 2 bags, get it in there. Use the residual steam, a couple of minutes, and then it's plate up time. So exciting. The smell is phenomenal. Look at this. Come on. Colour, flavour, smells, that's what it's about. If I just push it, look at the moisture coming out of it. Dry pork, no longer. No way, Jose. Different vibe, but it's going to put a massive smile on your face. The idea of sauce, gravy. Right, we're not going to have pints of the stuff, sorry. But what I'll give you in return is flavour like you've never had before. And we've got a roasted rhubarb and apple compote. Crispy celeriac cracklings. Ladies and gentlemen, pot roast pork wrapped in cured meat. Oh, that is so good. Nice bit of the old cured meat, the silky, soft pork, and that Chianti juice is so good. Little kiss of sweetness from the compote. That, my friend, is a little fork of heavenly beauty. Oh, what a way to start the weekend. Many of us, the weekend wouldn't be the weekend without a beautiful roast dinner. And this is the one. The shoulder of pork is an epic weekend feast. Cooked overnight, this is a magnificent show-stopping feast of soft melting meat and, most importantly, lots and lots of lovely crackling. The shoulder of pork here, right, this is my favourite cut of pork because I'll feed easily 20 people out of this. It's got the most marvellous marbling of fat that when it cooks, it melts, gives you flavour and tenderness, and it really is truly amazing. I've taken off the skin, or your butcher will do this for you, for one very important reason. When I slow cook meat, it's very hard to get the perfect crackling, okay? It's almost impossible, okay? So I'm gonna cook this crackling separately. This, however, is gonna go low and slow. We're gonna add some amazing flavour. So the first thing we're gonna do is bash up a punchy rub in a pestle and mortar. First, a heaped teaspoon of sea salt. 2 tablespoons of fennel seeds, a little bit of dried chilli. I just want that hidden hum. And then 3 or 4 little cloves. So then pound it up, give it a good old bash, muddle it, and look, you end up with this kind of beautiful handful of green heaven. Rub the seasoning all over the meat on both sides. Then it's time for the gravy, created in the bottom of the pan whilst the meat is roasting. So we're going to use 4 onions, 3 sticks of celery, 2 lovely apples, apple and pork, best friends. Cut the fruit and veg into chunky wedges. You'll want to keep some of their texture during the long, slow cooking process. In they go.
To guarantee full flavour, we're using beautiful aromatics, earthy sage, the warm woody flavour of bay leaves, and of course, garlic.
And then, cider. Beautiful. Pork and apples. Really, really good.
Place the pork on top and seal tightly with foil. Next, a great tip to guarantee crispy crackling. Simply cut the skin into thin strips.
And that way, perfect piece of crackling every time.
Season all the skin with salt and pack it tightly into an oven tray.
What you can do to make it super flat and super crunchy is just put another tray on top. And the weight of that tray will just make sure it's really crunchy.
It'll need 20 minutes at 240 degrees Celsius before taking off the top tray and cooking until golden and crispy.
Now, I'm not going to cook this until tomorrow. This will go in the fridge, but this, my friends, now I'm going to put this baby in the oven for about 10 to 12 hours at 130 degrees Celsius, okay? So it's quite low. And basically, that's it. Gravy done, meat done. This goes in now.
It's the long overnight cooking at a low temperature that guarantees soft, melting meat. 12 hours later, and we're ready to assemble this feast.
Okay, so the pork's been cooking all overnight, nice and low. I've also done my cracklings, a little bit of salt. And look at those, they're beautiful. And you can see how lovely and crunchy they've got. They'll be brilliant, hide them. Go and hide them. I've just taken the tin foil off of the pork just for a couple of minutes, 3 or 4 minutes, just to get that top of the fat getting crisp, okay? So let's get in there and show you what we've invested all of our love and time in. Oh, look at that. That, my friends, is a feast.
After the long, slow cook, the meat is falling apart and beautifully perfumed with that fennel seed rub.
Let me get a chunk and just show you. That's what we're talking about, guys. Just chunks of tender, gorgeous, gorgeous meat.
And to top it all off, we've got those incredible strips of crispy crackling.
Get 2 forks, and there's no right or wrong way to do it, ladies and gents, apart from just get stuck in. Oh, come on. Proper, tender, gorgeous meat. Guaranteed flavour every time.
Serve up big, juicy chunks of meat with whatever veg you fancy. I'm going with a potato and fennel gratin. Top it with a shredded apple and mint salsa, and then pour on that flavour-packed gravy.
Have a little ferret about, because you will find a lovely little chunk of apple and a nice little chunk of onion, and I love that.
And finish off with everyone's favourite bit.
Beautiful. What I love about this recipe, if you cook it like I said, it always works, no question. Meat tender, guaranteed. Juice, guaranteed. Cracklings, brilliant.